I'm sitting in the car, charging right now. But I was sitting here in prayer and in thought, and I was just really thanking God for how things were some time ago and then where I'm at now. And although things are not all together, I'm thankful that I'm not where I was a year ago, 2 years ago. Um, and the heaviness that I had on me then is no longer with me today. And I just really thought about, like, the enemy really tried to take me out, in different ways. The enemy really tried to come for me, and it did not work. Uh, the enemy was very unsuccessful. And I think about the trials that I had and the difficult times that I had. Uh, and I'm thankful that I did not lose my sanity, just for going through so much emotionally and the way that I carry things. Um, most of the things that I go through, I keep them between me and God. And so that's not always easy. And when you go through things or people go through stuff, sometimes, you want to be vindictive or you want your get back. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a malicious person. Um, I don't carry hate. I don't know how to carry get back, and there's been some things that, I had to endure, and it was hard, but I kept my head held high and I stayed in prayer, and I'm no longer in that space. God delivered me from that situation, and I'm here today being so thankful for that, and being so thankful that I stayed and I remained true to who I am, the person that God has made me. That I didn't allow the tricks of the enemy and the enemy coming for me to take me out of character. And here I am today at peace, and I'm able to smile about it. Again, things are not perfect. There's a lot of things I need to be worked on, and that I'm still working on, but I'm not there. I'm not a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm not in that space. And I know we all been through things in which we're like, man, I can't wait till this is over. Or you feel like you don't see a way out of it. Stay true to the person that God made you. Stay in prayer. Have faith. That time will come to pass. And when it come to pass and you look back, you only going to be that much more stronger. And when the enemy try to come for you again, because the enemy is always going to try to come, especially when there's greatness in you. When there's greatness in you, the enemy is always going to try to come, because the enemy wants to stop you from getting to where God will have you be, God's will for your life, where you're destined to be. And although no matter what, God will allow you to get there, but you can't let the enemy change your character. You can't let the situations break you from who you are. You gotta be resilient. You gotta stand strong in it and keep going. Even when it feels like ain't no way out, you gotta keep going. You gotta have faith to know that it will come to pass. And when you do, when you look back, you're gonna be like, man, you're gonna laugh. I'm thinking right now, I was in prayer and I started laughing like, wow. The way things felt then, I wouldn't think that I would be sitting here right now like I am, happy, smiling, laughing about it. Cause it wasn't no joke back then. It was real. It wasn't a joke. It was some real stuff. And here I am. That heaviness had been lifted from me. God protected me in the midst of everything that I was going through. God protected me. God shielded me. And here I am now. Here I am today. And I'm able to think back on it from a peaceful mindset, and be thankful that thank you, Lord, that didn't take me out. Thank you that I'm still here today. Thank you that I could sit and think about it. Thank you that I could sit and laugh about it, even though it wasn't funny. But when you go through those things and the time pass, it makes you that much stronger. So when the next trick come or the next trial come, you know you could walk through it with your head held high. You only become stronger and stronger with each battle. And I know who wants to be going through stuff, who wants to be battling things. It's not fun, you know. But I truly believe God will not allow you to go through a season in which you cannot handle. God will not allow you to go through a season in which you cannot handle. You are equipped to go through whatever it is. You got to have that faith. You gotta stay true to the person that God made you. You cannot break character. You gotta know in your heart, you know what? God's gonna take care of this for me. I don't need to do nothing. The only thing I need to do is be in prayer. Keep praying over myself. Keep praying for the situation. And leave the rest to God. And let it come to pass. I went through 3 hard things at one time. At one time, I was dealing with 3 very difficult situations that caused a lot of heaviness in my life. A lot of, I was uncomfortable. I was dealing with heartbreak, disappointment, neglect, feeling alone, depression, stressed, unworthiness, like all at once. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. One person dealing with all that. It was a lot. But it came to pass, and here I am today, happy, smiling, looking back and saying, Lord, I thank you. I thank everything that I go through. I'm thankful because none of it broke me. I'm thankful for the wisdom that God has given me. You got to be thankful. Even when it don't make sense, you got to be thankful. And I always tell, when people come to me and they lay their burdens, I don't know if I should say burdens on me, but they lay their heaviness, that what they're dealing with on me. People always seem to come to me. This has always been a thing. And I'm always there. I'm always giving a listening ear and trying to give words of encouragement. But one thing that I tell everybody, one thing that I say to everybody is that, hold on. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. It don't matter what it looks like, like it will come to pass. You gotta have faith and understand that everything is not. You have to understand that everything is not for your understanding. When people go through things, they tend to try to make sense of it, to bring comfort to themselves, to try to make sense of it. God didn't cause you to make sense of everything. Because if God caused us to make sense of everything that we went through, what do we need God for? Right? God didn't cause you to make sense of the situation that you're going through. Stop trying to make sense of it. Some things ain't meant to make sense. Call on God. Have faith in those situations. Don't try to make sense of it to make your flesh feel better about what you're going through or have a better understanding. Everything is not meant to make sense. Some things are understandable. Some things okay. But when you come to a situation, you just like, this just don't make no sense. I don't know what happened. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why I'm going through this. Stop trying to make sense of it. And instead of trying to make sense of it, ask God, Lord, what is it that you would have me see in this trial? In this season of my life, what is it that you want me to see? What is it that you want me to get out of it? That's what we should be doing. And if you don't have enough strength to do that, because sometimes it's hard, because when we go through stuff, sometimes we don't want it to be revealed to us, because the revelation might be something that we're not ready to really accept or move on from, right? So sometimes when we're going through stuff that's heavy, like, for instance, everybody's been in a relationship, and in that relationship, you might, know what you need to do, but you don't really want to say, God, if this person is not for me, take them away from me, because you're not really ready for that. You're not ready for that. You're not really ready for that, the rawness of that. Because if you got to ask, then that must be your answer. If you gotta ask, that must be your answer. And sometimes we're not ready for that. So what do people do? They tend on not asking those real questions in the midst of what they're going through, because they're not ready for the reality of it. And if you're not ready to if you can't feel like you can't ask those questions, go to God and ask, like, well, if this person is not for me, it could be friendship, family, whatever, take it away from me. That's a lot, because sometimes we're not ready. We feel like we're not ready, even though we are. We can handle it. You can handle it. But instead, if you're not ready to just be raw with it like that, instead, ask God to give you clarity, bring you peace in the situation. I gotta pray, because see, I keep having a word, and then I keep losing thought of my word right now. I keep losing thought of my word. And that's something that when it happens, I gotta be equipped to know, like, Lord, bring it back to me. Bring it back to me. I'm sitting here trying to explain something, and the word keeps being like, it keeps leaving me. But, sometimes we're not ready for that realness, and so we don't want to ask those questions, because we're going to get an answer. If you ask God, God is going to answer you quickly. There is no delay, okay? And that's true. Over the summer, I've asked God to remove things from me, people from my life. I promise you, I kid you not, within 2 days, they were gone. I didn't have to do the work. God did the work for me. God is so real. God will really be there for you. If you really seek God, God will answer you. And I'm not talking about, oh, Lord, I want this, I want that, bless me with it. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking for God to bless you with things that you want. Maybe things that you might need. And two, when we ask God for things that we need, it might not be the season right then and there. It might not be the season. Let me tell you the story. I had met a couple. They were, there were two women, middle-aged white women, and I had a conversation with them. We were talking, and I remember telling them I'm a person of faith. I'm a believer. I'm a person of faith, and I just felt the need to kind of say that, right? And so, as we're talking about different stuff, and as we're talking, one of the women. They were asking me about my car, right? And I was kind of, they were asking me questions about my car, and I was telling them about the car. And then one of the women said that she just bought a brand new Bronco. Broncos just hit the scene. They just came back out. So she was saying that she just bought a brand new Bronco. And she told me the backstory of how her buying this car came about. She told me back in the 90s, she said 30 years ago, and she said there was a place in LA where she worked, and there was this orange Bronco next door. And every time she would go to work or whatever, she would see that orange Bronco, and she wanted it. She wanted a Bronco, but at the time, of course, she said she couldn't afford a car. She couldn't afford it, whatever, right? But it was always on her. It was always on her heart's desire to have that car, but she couldn't afford it back then. And here she is, 30 years later, bought her a brand new Bronco. and she got the color orange. Whatever kind of orange that they have on the market, that's, whatever she got as close as she could to the orange, right? And I told her, I said, now, I want to point this out to you. I said, if you were to get that car back then, it would have been so different. I told her, I said, God gives us what we need when we need it. God gives us what we need when we need it. God will give you what you need when you need it. I said, if you had that car back 30 years ago, it probably wouldn't hit the same as you getting it now. And she told me that was completely true. And she didn't really think about it like that. And she said, I like the way you put it. I told her, God gives you what you need when you need it. Because here you are, 30 years later, that car was still on her heart. She still had the desire for that car 30 years later, but it took her 30 years. But she's in a different place now than she was 30 years ago. She was young. Now she's older. She's more established. She's enjoying life now. She can enjoy it now. It's different now. And God gives us what we need when we need it, not when we want it. Because the things that you want today, if God was to bless you with those things, can you handle that thing? Do you have it in you to handle that thing? You might lose it just like that. And we see it all the time. We see people get stuff all the time and they lose it. They lose it. We see people inherited property. What happened? They lose it within the first year. I don't want nothing prematurely. I don't want nothing prematurely. I ask God every day, go before me. If it is not fit for me in the season of my life, please don't give it to me. Because I want to cherish and value everything that God has blessed, given to me. Everything. No matter what it is, I value everything like it's the best thing that I could ever have. And with me doing that, I notice God has given me more. God has given me more. Respect and value what you have, and respect and value the season that you are in your life. I don't want to move too fast. I want things to go accordingly to God's plan. I don't want to move too fast. I want things to go the way God intended them to go for me, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because I know in that uncomfortable season, there's something that God would have me see. Or sometimes it's not even about you. Some of the things that I went through recently, although it felt like I was being attacked, in which I was, somebody else got delivered out of that. I found out someone else got delivered from out of that situation. Someone else was going through their own trial and their own bondage, and they got delivered. But God chose me. God chose me because he knew. I'm not going to say I guess. I want to say I guess he knew. But he knew that I would get through it appropriately and respectfully without causing more damage. And I'm so thankful for that. Like, I want to cry right now, but I'm not. I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful that God uses me. And I every day I say, Lord, use me. The things that I've been through and how they panned out, Lord, use me. Use me. And I'm just so thankful. So with all that being said, I just want to say, don't try to make sense of everything. Allow yourself be in the season in which God put you in. And instead of trying to ask God what's going on or trying to make sense of it yourself, ask God to show you what it is that you need to see in that season and why you're in that season. God, reveal to me what it is that you want me to learn. God, reveal to me what it is that you want me to add to my character. Reveal to me. And if there is no revelation, then it's okay, because a revelation will come when you're out of that season and you look back and you be like, this is why this happened. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's hard. But God will get you through. So I'm encouraging you to keep faith. God will get you through. Because let me tell you, I went through it. And I honestly was just like, I don't know about this one right here. But God got me through, and I'm here today and at peace. God will get you through. Whatever it is that you're going through, God will get you through. God will get you through. Stay resilient. Stay confident. Stay in prayer. Let God carry the battle. Let God carry you through the battle. Ask God to go before you every day. And ask what God will reveal to you. And that's it. And leave it there. Leave it there.